Welcome. You're listening to My Magical Horse, the podcast, where we are getting curious about animal communication. I am your host, Jordan Banks, and if you are desiring a more magical connection with your own horse, you are in the right place. Join us as we rediscover our sense of wonder, experience the joy, and feel the magic that horses bring to our lives each and every day. We are so excited to have you here. Thank you for spending your time with us. Now let's get started. Welcome back to My Magical Horse, the podcast. Today, we are actually doing an in-person interview with my friend, Brittany Lowe. And Brittany and I have never done this before, so you have to bear with us because this is learning in real time. So we're hoping that the audio will be good enough for the podcast. And those of you who are members on My Magical Horse as a Phoenix Rising or Earth Angels will get to watch this video, and hopefully it might even give you a couple laughs. So
I guarantee it will. It's my facial expressions are considered subtitles.
So welcome. And welcome, Brittany. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me at your lovely place. We are looking at the incredible Puget Sound right now, out these gorgeous windows that are like floor to ceiling windows. The vibe here is magical.
Brittany's going to open our time today with some special words.
Yeah, so hat tip to Dr. Tracy Rainwaters, where I originally learned this. We are doing the truncated version of a sacred space prayer. The full one was the first time I heard a prayer read out loud that moved me to the point of tears. So I can do the full one if you would prefer.
You could do the full one. And actually, the funny thing is Brittany and I were both in the same course with Tracy Rainwaters. What was the course called? It was Journey of the Soul, or I can't remember, something like that. But she and I were both in it, but we weren't in it on the same day. So
yeah, it was a different cohort. I have been talking, and we've done a lot of that.
Yeah, we've kind of been on a similar parallel path, but not in the same things at the same time. So we'll go into more of that as we continue on. But yeah, go ahead and do the full one.
To the winds of the south, great serpent, please enter this medicine space and wrap your golden coils of healing light around us. Teach us to let go of what is no longer true. Just as you shed your skin, may we shed our past. Help us move heartbeat to heartbeat with the body of Earth. Allow us to release and renew as you do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To the winds of the west, Mother, Sister Jaguar, please walk around this medicine space so that we feel safe to enter the tender place of truth inside ourselves. Empower us to navigate the great mystery. Teach us how to move through our own shadow, our own darkness. Help us trust life by feeling our interconnection with it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To the winds of the north, sweet hummingbird and our benevolent ancestors, please fly into this medicine space and allow us to feel your ancient heartbeat. You who memorize thousands of flowers, but only go to the ones that truly nourish you. Teach us about discernment and illuminate the path of where our soul nectar is, so that we may not be distracted by false images. Let us celebrate the sweetness of our lives, ancestors. Those you who have been before and will be here after us, please help guide our way with healing, humor, synchronicity, magic, and grace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To the winds of the east, great eagle, great condor, please arrive to this medicine space and allow us to be lifted by you to our highest heights to see with a wider view. Teach us how to fly wingtip to wingtip with great spirit, moving from the probability to possibility. Help us awaken from our dream drought and remember how to dream bigger dreams, to live in collaboration and co-creation with spirit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sweet, sweet Pachamama, Mother Earth, thank you for this body, this life, these hands, this heart. Thank you for holding us always and in every moment so we are never without you. Thank you for being so profoundly generous that every offering we could ever make to you is something you have already offered to us. Help us learn how to be more like you. Infuse us with the love that you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Father, Sun, Grandmother Moon, our star brothers and sisters, please shower your light down on us. Father, Sun, just like there are some days where we don't see you, but don't doubt your existence, may we have that same faith in our light. Grandmother Moon, just like we honor your cycles, may we trust our own. Star brothers and star sisters, help us to remember the true meaning of community and reflecting one another's light to each person we meet. Please illuminate the spaces in our being that are ready to awaken. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To the heart teacher, please awaken. Please be the source of each thought, word, and action. Please also be the way in which life is received. May the love that has led us here to this moment lead us through. As you always say, namaste.
Namaste.
But that sacred space prayer brings tears to my eyes literally every time. It is so beautiful to me.
She has tears in her eyes.
It's one of the first times I've heard something like that hit me, body, mind, soul, and was just like, this is what this is about.
Yeah. So beautiful. Yeah. Anyway, it was a beautiful, beautiful class that we did with Tracy too.
Absolutely life-altering and legitimately a direction that I definitely want to pursue further. Tracy's been amazing. She's also local. I get the joy of working with her and her horses, and they are magnificent beings that share all sorts of wisdom and continue to hold me and support me in my animal communication journey. So that's been pretty cool. Plus, she has a space that's just profoundly open and supportive. So I feel like a lot of times when I do body work on horses, it's in a space like big barns where there's lots of chaos, and people are like, well, why don't you just do animal communication all the time? And I'm like, there are so many walls that I have to build in those scenarios that don't get me wrong, I get blips, I get feelings, I get questions that I ask owners, but it's less of a back and forth and more of just a little insight. But in her place where she's somebody that believes in it and trusts her horses and the messages that come through, just setting the intention to be open to what they have to say. I work on her horses, and they have truly brought forward some incredible messages, some transformational things, some really profound healing that I've just created space for. One of her mares Sedera, was having some issues. She's younger and wasn't going into heat and cycling normally. Oh, okay. And she was having some ovary restriction issues, but to the point where I do some visceral work in my history of body work in my bajillion classes I've come to. And so, but she didn't want me to physically put hands on her. And so,
Sedera didn't want you to physically,
but in this situation, she was very protective of her body in this space. Mm-hmm. And so I physically took steps back and energetically worked on her. And she had huge, profound releases, full body shake. There were a couple other big body changes in that moment. And Tracy texted me the next day and was like, that was bananas, because she finally went into heat for the first time in over a year and a half or 2 years, and since then has had a normal cycle. But it wasn't just the physical release of her ovaries. There was a conversation that I had with Tracy, and there was communication that came through during that moment. And we had to have a moment where we just paused, acknowledged, worked through it on the physical and energetic and spiritual level. And then she was able to let go of it. But she was holding on to it specifically.
Probably really beautiful to have Tracy, who is also an animal communicator and a shaman, there to support that type of interactions. That you feel supported in all of that as well.
Yes, it was profound for me in my journey. And to have that support from her horses and from her was incredible. And then also to be able to have the confirmation about it afterwards as well, because sometimes I feel these incredible shifts, and it's nice to just have that, like, great job.
It's not just you. Yeah. It's not in your head.
I would like to say it wouldn't impact me as much as it does, but we all have those, like, imposter syndrome moments.
Yeah.
And I would like to say they happen less and less, but the truth is sometimes they still happen.
Yeah, that's so true. So Brittany and I met because I was in this thing called the Tea House with Amber and Shaylee, and I just randomly decided to see, I guess, if anybody local to me was in that group, because I kind of was just curious. And Brittany was there, and I had heard of her, but I didn't know you then.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had reached out to her and I was like, hey, we should meet up sometime because we're both in this group. And I think that's really interesting because at the time I didn't know that Anastasia was in the group. She ended up bringing another friend and we all had dinner together, and it's turned into this beautiful friendship now. But Brittany is a body worker.
Yes.
And how long have you been a body worker?
Over a decade.
Over a decade. And when I met you, she had just recently gone through Felicity's intuitive equestrian course. So then she was telling me all of this magical information and all these things, and I was kind of a little overwhelmed. I was like, whoa, how do you know all this stuff? And then, yeah, subsequently we ended up both being I ended up doing the intuitive equestrian after she did it, but not really thinking about the fact that she had done it because I just wanted to have more time to hone my animal communication skills. But the funny thing is that Felicity and I talk about it in one of the podcasts I do with her, but I didn't tap into the fact that the second part of the class was going to be like an energy healing thing. And I was just like, oh, yay, however long that class was, I'm going to do lots of animal communication. But the energy healing part was really eye-opening and really what I needed.
And that's so she always talks about our horses guiding us to her program right at the correct time. So her program for me was the same thing at the exact time that I needed it. It was right after my horse Frankie ended up having colic surgery.
Oh, wow.
So to caveat, I think that my relationship with Frankie, she is my soul horse.
Mm-hmm.
She is truly my soul horse connection. And we completely rewrote our soul contract during her colic surgery.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And it was one of those things where when she colicked as badly as she did, I had to step back and say, if this is the time that you would like to transition, I completely understand and appreciate that. The lessons that we've had together are incredible and magical, and I so appreciate you. But I had to release that, like, grip that I love her so much and I need her to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And she kept having, issues. And it was me literally stepping back and being like, I don't want you in pain anymore. If this is something that you choose to do and you want to do, you're going to make that impeccably clear to me. And that is something that we can go through together. And on the other side of this, if I never ride you again, that is okay with me. She's not that old. At this point, she's 16. This happened when she was, almost 14? And it was one of those choices, prime age. And I had to say, if this is not something that ever happens for us in the future, I'm okay with that. And I think she chose to stay because I was willing to release that hold. Because this is a horse that I went galloping down the beach with, that I ride bareback and bridleless and do all of these things that are just joyous and fun and incredible and connected and in tune. But I had to sit there and be like, I care more about you and our relationship than I do about any of this. Any of this other stuff is a bonus. And don't get me wrong, I still want to ride her and I still want to take that step with her in the future if that's something that she wants to do with me. And I have a feeling now that Miss Arabella has arrived, that she has also transformed her relationship in our family dynamic, and that's something that she is going to want to do again. But Frankie, yes.
And Arabella's her daughter.
Yes. Arabella is my daughter. Yes.
And you
5.5 months now.
You were in the class with Felicity when Frankie went through the colic?
So Frankie she went in for 3 days before she had surgery. It turns out she might not have actually needed surgery, which is why this was a whole like soul contract situation. It turns out she had gotten she did have twisting of her gut, but it had flipped back and forth multiple times. But then what happened is she spiked a fever. So they thought her gut had twisted and started to go septic, which is why they were like, we need surgery now. Turns out when they went in there, everything was incredibly healthy. She didn't have to have any resections. Like everything was beautiful. Thank goodness. But she stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks post-surgery because she was sick with this completely other, the reason that she had the fever. So they did a phenomenal job taking care of her, but we don't entirely know what she had. We tested her for a whole bunch of different things. It's a mystery.
And now she came out of it and she's okay. And so during that time you rewrote your soul contract with her. Did you do that intentionally, or do you feel like
intentionally? I think that is something that, like, me saying the words, like, I never to have this thing that was so key for me.
Yeah.
Was, so Frankie is a special, I call her my soul horse because my life is full of circles. Like,
yeah.
Full circle moment.
Me too.
Yeah. Frankie came into my life at a very pivotal time for me. So I had my first Jake. He came into my life. He was delivered on my 11th birthday, and I started a business and made $4,000 to have him purchased and delivered on my birthday.
Really?
And
what kind of business?
I made paper, like pulp and paper clay. So I put them on cards and bags and boxes. So talk about art. Like I would use watercolor and inks and colored pens and glitter. And I still have some of them. They're pretty awesome. Anyways.
So you did this to make money so you could buy him?
Because my mom had a jewelry business. And so at first it started as like, here, entertain yourself. Well, I'm selling stuff. And then people were like, hey, wait a second. That's pretty cool. Can I buy that? And I was like, I see the path to horse. Okay. How old were you? I was 8 when I started selling stuff. Entrepreneurial spirit from the very beginning, that's for sure. And he had so many lessons for us as well. But one of them was very clearly that it was a situation where he was older than they told us. They had doctored his registration papers. There was a vet sketchy situation. Turns out he had been to the national finals rodeo, and I was buying him as a horse that I could then compete and barrel race in and take to that level. He was shot. Like he had really horrible arthritis, and they had drugged him when I had test ridden him multiple times, and it was one of those situations that my thought of what I was getting and what was received was different. But now that I have all of this knowledge now, he was very much a horse that was intended for our family, and he taught me so much. I would not be doing animal body work if it wasn't for Jake, for my horse cover girl that came after that, and these experiences that we had, and my dad. So,
and as a child.
Even as a child. Exactly. It all builds upon each other. So me going in and knowing so much more about the impact of different metabolic issues, arthritis, X, Y, and Z on him, but also how much he continued to persevere. His knees were the size of freaking softballs. And that horse, till the day he died, galloped, bucked, reared, had the time of his life. You could not slow him down.
Is that what you primarily are as an equestrian? Are you barrel racer, or had you delved into other?
So I grew up in 4-H and gaming. And so I did performance, but that was because you had to like do decently in performance so you could go to state for game.
Right. And did you do that in Kids Upcoming?
Yeah. I had a great time with that. Still to this day have community members with that I absolutely love. But since then I've done dressage, trail riding, has always been a love of mine. My mom told me if I ever decided to jump that I was going to be done with horses. So
You didn't want you to.
those are the things that I just didn't do. But I pretty much I delved in a lot of different things. I mainly rode around bareback, but the answer is I haven't ridden in a few years now. Because of my car accident and then my pregnancy. And life has just life. But it's one of those things that I feel more deeply connected to horses now than ever. So it's one of those, like, I don't need the riding by any means, but it is a bonus. It is a plus. It is magnificent and magical. And when it comes together, it's so incredible. But it's not a need. So when you ask, like, what type of riding do you do?
Yeah.
Right now, it's one of those things where, like, that's
Doesn't define
it doesn't define you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think because I probably had heard of who you were because I did barrel race my mare for a little while, so I knew who you were. That's just so funny. How did you, or when did you decide to become a body worker?
Oh, yes. I got distracted.
Yeah, it's okay. We
Jake.
jump around.
So Jake happened.
And go back to the circle. Yeah.
And then I, because we realized that he would not be barrel racing, the owner of Painted Valley Farms in Paulsbo, Shaman Prigger, let me lease her mare Goldie, who was like the mare that was featured on her front page of her website for years. Like, she was a really special mare to her. So the fact that she trusted me with her was a real honor. But she was a gaming queen. I literally competed with her until she was 21, 22. And Shannon was like, it's time for her to retire. Like, this is really hard. But she was still ready to rip roar and run. And when she retired, I was looking for another horse, and my trainer at the time, her sister, was going to college, and that is how I ended up with CoverGirl. And so CoverGirl's Dawn was incredible. And she was incredible for so many things. I always said Jake was my rock and CoverGirl was my wings. She let me, like, compete, and we were neck and neck with everything. It was amazing, magical. And then she would wrong.
Oh.
Absolutely. She would rear, jump, leap, like where she was vertical, and then head between her knees, split herself in two, just feet straight up in the air. And then she would land and she would leap and do it again. So it's like literally like you would see at the rodeo.
But she didn't do that all the time.
She did not do that all the time. And this is how I got introduced to bodywork, because my brain was like, this is not normal.
Yeah.
This is because of some reason. Why is she doing?
Like, you intuitively already knew she wasn't trying to be a shithead.
Exactly.
Something was wrong.
It was, so we tried getting her teeth done. We tried getting saddle fit taken care of. We tried doing all of these things. Chiropractic. And it wasn't like the pieces, she would still crack in half. When I mean, she would faint. So that's actually where I ended up with her. She had a bit of a sordid history. This is not something that was new. This was something that was known. And so she came to me with that knowledge, and I was just bound and freaking determined to figure it out. And it was when I found Trisha that she did body work on my horses. And she the difference in her body night and day was, it was so clear. It was incredible. And it was hilarious because she also was an animal communicator. And Jake would stand in the pasture with us, and literally she would be massaging CoverGirl on one side and Jake would stand on the other side and like have his lip going and parallel everything she was doing to CoverGirl's other side and be like, okay, the faster you get done with her, the faster you can come work on me.
Oh, that's really funny.
Right? So that was my first introduction to animal communication, actually as like animal communication.
How old were you then?
In my teens.
So was she incorporated the animal communication into her massage session? Or
But yeah, it was fun things like one of the things that I remember is she told me that Jake liked to blow on dandelions.
really?
Like watch them poof.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious because he would save like special catches of dandelion and literally go through all of the phases of being a dandelion so he could go up and like snort on them and let their
Wow.
go everywhere. It was precious. He was hilarious. That horse knew how to buzz his lips and make farting noises. So when you would walk in front of him, he thought he was hilarious. He would sit there and you would walk in front of him and he'd go, "Mm." And people would be like, oh, haha, you tooted. And he was like, and people for years thought I was just tooting every time I walked in front of him until he started doing it to them.
Okay, that's really funny. He's got a good sense of humor.
A great sense of humor. He had a great sense of humor. So, long story short, I went off to, well, I guess this was long story long, but anyway, college. I went off to range. CoverGirl had completely stopped bucking. Like, with all her body to the point where she no longer bucked. She did it one more time when I was bareback. I rode her through it, and she never bucked again in her life, period. It was life-altering, right? And then I went to college. I took her to college with me, and nobody could touch her. Like, I called body workers from all around. I went to the University of Idaho, which is just 8 miles across from Pullman, in Idaho, in Moscow.
Yeah.
And I called people from Washington. I called people from Idaho. Nobody within like 150, 200-mile radius could put their hands on her.
Really?
There was like literal electricity. She was shocking people. Like,
why do you think that is?
because she was pushing me into learning how to do
and to do it. Yeah, and then that goes into the horses leading us to what we're meant to do, which is a theme actually on this podcast. I mean, we talk about it a lot in very different scenarios, but the horses are guiding us to
He's like, oh,
what we're meant to do with our lives.
this changed my life. Now figure out how to do it to keep it consistent. So between my freshman and sophomore year, I went and took a class and learned how to do body work. At the time, I was just planning on doing it for my own horses and for like lesson horses. So I didn't get licensed in Washington State initially. So that
And you were in Idaho.
that was, yes, when I was in Idaho. So this was 2012 type of situation. And I took my first class.
Gotcha.
And that was just for my
Personal.
personal health. Yeah, exactly. I was getting a degree, you name it, things were happening. I was supposed to go do my business thing. And then life has a way of doing incredible things. So a week before I graduated college and walked across the stage, I got a call. It was Mother's Day. I called my mom to say Happy Mother's Day. My mom answered the phone in tears. And I was like, is everything okay? And she said, no, we are at the ER. Your dad just came out of the MRI and he has 14 tumors in his brain. What? Oh, I skipped over a part. I'm so sorry. So, yes, let me tell you that part. Rewinding a little bit. My junior year was when I turned 20, September 2nd. 6 days after my birthday, CoverGirl passed away. Like, curled up in her stall, fell asleep. I think she must have had an aneurysm or some type of situation.
So nothing traumatic, just
No.
Okay.
It was traumatic for me.
Yeah.
I literally collapsed. And then just a few months after that, Goldie passed away because of laminitic flare.
Mm-hmm.
And then just a few months after that, Jake, at 29 years old, colicked and had to put down. This was all within a 6-month period, my junior year. And I swore off horses. I was heartbroken. I was like, it literally felt, because I turned 20, I felt like my entire teenage, like, childhood was just like lit with the fire up in flames. Like, all of your childhood memories and just experiences with horses gone. And I realized in retrospect, they did it so purposefully because I had to learn how to grieve. Because my senior year, a week before I graduated, my dad got sick. Well, turns out he was sick way before that. But I wouldn't have been able to learn these very important processes of grieving if this hadn't happened. Because when I heard about them, I went off the deep end. Alcohol and ice cream is how we survived, right? And that's not healthy. That's not a good way of dealing with feelings. And it was literally the beginning of my senior year. So the summer between my junior and senior year, I'd sworn off horses. And that was when I went to Costa Rica for 2 months. I literally went and worked for a company that helped get women out of the sexual trade industry.
Oh, wow.
And I went with a group that we traveled on the weekends. I lived with the Tika family. I was there for 2 months. We went to Panama. It was a really phenomenal time, but I just literally needed to get out of the country and away from horses. Because at that time I was massaging lesson horses at Painted Valley. And that was just to help them because lesson horses are God's magic beings that are worth their weight in, I don't know, gold, platinum. What is the most expensive thing? Horse hearts is really horse souls and horse hearts of lesson horses they are incredible beings that transform so many lives. Anyways, so I would go back during my breaks and go massage them. But at the same time, I was so heartbroken that I couldn't go back and put my eyes on horses at all. And so I started my senior year. And with context now, my dad has 14 tumors in his brain. But at that point, I didn't know that.
Right.
And I got a call from my dad. And he said, I love you, but I don't understand how you have friends anymore. Because you're a real witch.
He said that?
He did not use the word witch. When you don't have horses. And I legitimately don't and so he said, either you go find a horse or I'm going to find one for you.
Really?
And he knew nothing about horses. So.
And you didn't know about the tumors?
We did not know about the tumors. So in retrospect, the tumors very much impacted what he had to say. The way that he said it. But I think he was a lot more connected to intuition and the fact that he knew I needed to have a horse through this next process, transition. Yeah. So he was the reason that I went and found Frankie. And I tried because Jake was the only horse that I initially looked at because he was off of my trainer's recommendation. And CoverGirl was the only horse I looked at because it was a trainer's sister type of situation. I was like, okay, I'm doing this the right way. I'm looking at all of these horses, and I went and looked at over 40 horses. And Frankie happened to be the second horse that I looked at. There was just something about her, but I told myself you have to do the thing where you look at all these other horses. And I came back to her, and I literally, do you know what's really hilarious? When I tried her out the second time, technically, I hopped on her bareback, and she had some trauma in her past. And I hopped on her, and I had a list of my questions in my back pocket. And I was riding her around bareback, and the prior owner was like, wow, she's never been ridden bareback before. And my piece of paper came out of my back pocket and flew right next to her eyeball, literally this far away from her eyeball. So she jumped about 5 feet sideways. And I had ridden horses for almost a year at that point.
Okay.
And so I tumbled on the ground. And the owner was freaked out. She was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I was like, I'll take her. It was just one of those moments where I was like, of course she would do that. Why would she not do that?
Yeah.
And I literally had her delivered.
I fell off and yep, I want to take her.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was just hilarious, right? So yes. So I got into massage for my own horses because of Jake and CoverGirl.
Mm-hmm.
I got into bodywork as a business because of my dad. So I was supposed to go work for Boeing. I had a job lined up. I got a degree in production operations management, human resources management, with emphasis in entrepreneurship. So it still counts.
Yeah.
I had a job lined up with Boeing. And when I heard from my mom that my dad had 14 tumors in his brain, I called them up and said, thanks, but no thanks. And I'm going to go take care of Dad. So I took care of my dad. I was his aide to camp, which is a very military thing. His dad was in the Navy, so I think the Navy has something to do with the Navy. Um, Anyways, he did not want to say I was his caregiver because that, in his mind, was not acceptable. He wouldn't accept help that way. But I was his aide to camp, so he could tell me all the things, and I could be responsible for his medications and getting to appointments and like organizing things. And in that way, he was willing to accept help. But there were so many silver linings to this, in the fact that my dad understood on a deep, visceral level the magic and wonder of horses when he got sick. He loved Frankie, loved her. His favorite thing to do was go out and just put his hands on her and ground and be in her energy and her presence. He literally looked at me and was like, he supported me throughout my entire career. But he was like, I never got it until now. And he was willing to do the things, to drive me to the places, to teach me how to drive the truck and trailer so I could do it myself. He was willing to spend the money and be supportive and encouraging. But he didn't get it. And then when he got sick and he experienced that with Frankie, he understood on a spiritual level that is hard to describe with words how impactful it was to him. And that was so beautiful.
And you got to have Frankie at home?
No, she was still at Painted Valley. Yeah.
So he would go with you there to see her?
Yes. It was very special. And it was one of those realizations that I had at that point that, frick what societal expectations are. Like, I was set up to have the great job according to society, and use my career, like my degree, appropriately. But I was like, life can change in an instant. My dad had literally been retired almost 2 months.
Wow.
And it was one of those situations that, like, I just realized he had wanted to travel Europe. He wanted to take me different places. Like, he wanted to do all of these things. And it was always going to be when I retire. He was retired for all of 2 months and he got this diagnosis and he passed away 5 months later. Passed away. Wow. Halloween. He chose the day he passed away. Halloween was his favorite holiday. And it's definitely a day where, like, veils are thinner, right? Yeah. So my dad looks after me and is one of my guardian angels to this, like, when I looked up,
he showed up on her phone screen.
And that he comes to me all of the time in the form of eagles, in fun ways, like songs on the radio. I have my phone screen set where every hour the background changes, and he popped up just when I showed up for this. So he was just popping in saying, "Hey, Dax," here.
And so you were able to do the body work and still take care of him. And
I completely just took care of him.
Oh, you just took care of him. Okay.
And he was determined. He knew he was passing away. And so he had projects that he wanted to get done, places he wanted to go. We traveled, we completed projects. Like, I ended up giving myself carpal tunnel because I was like moving a whole bunch of rock for all these projects. Like, steroids do incredible things, makes people so they do not need any sleep. We had to have a discussion about the fact that the rest of us needed like 8 hours of sleep. Otherwise, we were not going to function. Anyways, so it was after that, like, I had the discussion with him that I was just going to do body work for horses, and he passed away. And at first he was like, no, you're not. You're going to go back to your job, that you're going to have the traditional job. And then as he went through this process, I remember going up next to him and we were just talking at one point, and he was like, I am so proud of you. You're going to excel at doing this because it's something that you're passionate about. It's something that you care about. And I want you to have that love in your job that you can experience every single day, and not just like, he loved his job. He was a general contractor. He was an artist. He got to build incredible houses that we could walk through and appreciate. And his clients still to this day appreciate his work, and still, like, I'm friends with them still. And they are still appreciative of the level of like magic and wonder that he brought into his craft. But he wanted that same thing for me, but he just didn't think horses, that you could have a career in horses that didn't cost money. Things where he was like, if you can figure out a way to do this, I believe in you. You are determined. Go get him.
You're like a perpetual.
You're a perpetual learner.
Perpetual learner. He's like a forever student. I mean, I thought I was, but he really is. Like, I didn't even know there was, I mean, I am meeting them actually. When I keep meeting people that are doing all the things I'm doing, man, there's like a bunch of us that are just these kind of forever students. But you came out for Ugo. So my horse, Ugo, had an injury, pretty severe injury, actually, where he severed the tendon of his, I guess it's his left front leg. And it had a previous injury, but then he did this new injury. And Brittany, bless her heart, came out to help me with him. And she hadn't worked on my horses before at all. Like, so then I was just kind of like taken aback because she was doing all this animal communication stuff and all this energy stuff. And I was just like, whoa, you're getting all that from him right now.
I just remember so vividly where you had gotten some news where it was like that he should be.
Yes. I had a vet tell me, well, I had a couple of people tell me that it wouldn't be a wrong time to decide to put him down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I remember you came and you were like, is that the vibe that you're getting?
Yeah.
Which this is not something that I always do. So I'm just going to put a caveat around the fact that I do not come in and want to, like, vets diagnose things and have a lot of knowledge. But I knew you from these other spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And in my heart, I felt very strongly that he had very specific teachings for you in this experience, and that he still had a lot of vitality in his body. And the attitude that he had about his injury was like, yeah, but I'm totally gonna like get over this. It's fine.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. You're welcome to follow all of these things, but I think what's happening in this moment is actually a lesson for you in believing that you can manifest and see through a tragic diagnosis and actually to the other side and have him healthy again.
Yeah. And it is like one of those kind of comeback stories, I think. And I can't remember when you came, if I had already had a session with Shaylee or if it was after you came, but Shaylee and I had a session also. And kind of when you were talking about like whether or not you could let Frankie go, I've had that with Ugo where I have had this fear of losing him, like this really heavy fear of losing him. And he has been a very accident prone horse his whole life, actually, which is actually why I got him even. I mean, like, he came into my life and I got to keep him because of all the issues that he has. And I'm like, yes, I would love to have him. But yeah, Shaylee and I were having a session, and I think I was telling her how afraid I was to lose him. And he says to her, he said, if you believe I can heal, I can heal. If you believe I can heal, I can heal. And then he added, am I a magical horse or not? And I was like, I think you had already seen him at that point. And then this was like a follow-up to that. And I was like, okay, then. I was like, if you say you can heal, as long as I believe you can heal, I'm going to believe you. Mm. And actually, we're right now exactly at like a year since he did that injury. And so I need to have the vet come back out and check him again. But she had come out 3 months ago and was amazed at how much his leg had improved. And she said that he was actually regenerating the tendon. And she said that she couldn't believe it.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
I have got full-blown goosebumps. Whole body.
She said she couldn't believe it. And I told her about the conversation with Shaylee, and she says, he's a magical horse. Like she said she was just shocked, actually. So it's been another 3 months since that checkup, and we need to do it again. But his leg just keeps looking better and better. Like I'm amazed. I mean, I don't know if he'll ever be back fully where he was before, but the fact that he's healed, is he's regenerating this severed tendon basically. And thanks to Brittany, I was able to laser him a lot in the beginning. I think that helped, cold laser him, and that helped a lot. And then I did the mentorship with Mariana, and we did a lot of energy healing, and I spent a lot of time just clearing, grounding, clearing. Yeah, putting us in the healing bubble.
At that point, I remember the last thing I did was I was like, you just have a lot of emotion coming at him. And right now it's a lot of fear-based emotion. Mm-hmm. So we need to cleanse him, clear him, and stick him in a bubble of healing, grounded happiness, and that reciprocity with the earth. That concept of reciprocity.
I remember you telling me all this green, he's getting all this green healing energy coming from the earth and the grass. And I was like, okay, I still tell him that. Yeah, right. When he's healing the grass, I'm like, this green grass is healing you.
Yes, absolutely.
Do it.
Why not?
And then I learned, I learned about, like opening his chakras and helping the stuff. And he had some other major things happen to him after that. And then like somewhere in the midst of this past year, he abscessed and colicked, and he had a severed tendon. So like, this was like, I didn't know if he was going to make it through this or not, because he had a lot of shit going on, and he made it through. I mean, he amazes me, like, cause yeah, he has a purpose. And this was after a different thing when he went to pill check because he choked. And I kind of had that thing where I didn't know if I was going to lose him, and then I basically told him that if we made it through and we got to come home from the vet hospital, that this was going to be our Phoenix Rising rebirth, and we were going to do things differently after this. And we really have. And he's giving me the opportunity to practice all these things, like put into practice, just learning how to be with him. Just learning how, I think that the time that I spend with him actually has become my meditation.
100%. If Frankie is similar in the fact Frankie will call me out. So if my energy is nothing but is nothing that she wants to receive because I'm not present, or I have that laundry list of things that I had to do, or I had to deal with a situation where it just has me frazzled, and I show up, she will literally like pin her ears, squeal, walk away, whatever it happens to be, and is very much like, no, unacceptable. And if I have to sit there and literally be like, okay, take my deep breath, ground, literally like send my energy out where it needs to go, cleanse, clear, create my bubble, whatever it may be, depending on how intense the situation. Sometimes it needs to be a little bit longer than that. Yeah. But the instant I have taken that effort, she side passes over to me and literally shoves herself into my face to itch her belly button. It's like a very delineated yes, no.
Interesting.
And so it's so nice when we have these horses that call us out on our BS. They're not easy by any means, but very clear communicators that are like, oh, you started to not believe in things. Let me just have this other episode where you have to like really delve in and believe the things that you like. If you had a crisis of consciousness, he's like, knock, 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 let me just call it. It's time.
And to show you what's possible, like to show you what's possible if
miracles are totally capable of happening.
Yeah. And then I was thinking about when you were telling your story about Frankie and how you're like, okay, I don't care if I ever ride you again. That's exactly where I am with Ugo. And it's like, I don't care if I ever ride you again. Like, I just want, like, when I had people telling me any time would not be the wrong time to put him down. Mm-hmm. And I think about it, that's been almost a year ago.
Yeah.
But this year that I have spent with him has been profoundly rich with teaching me how to be in the moment with him.
Yeah.
Like how to meditate, not even thinking that I'm meditating, but like to go out with him and just try to clear it. It's harder than it sounds.
Yeah.
Try to clear all the shit out of your head, right? To just be in the present moment listening to him eat the grass,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it might be, running my hands through his hair.
Mm-hmm.
And that time with him is so powerful, and means more to me. It's so weird. It means more to me than any horse show I ever went to.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's almost like I feel like the horse shows had their place.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, but like, it's so weird how like living in the present is like, I can't even really remember what it felt like to be at the horse shows compared to what I'm doing now and just being with him.
Have goosebumps again. Like, I completely understand. Like, I 100% agree with you, and it's changed my life. It's absolutely changed my life for the better. It's changed how I've interacted with other humans. It's changed how I interact in my business, how I believe about myself, my own internal like dialogue that goes on. As a highly sensitive person to energy, like it's created a bubble of like I can be me and feel healthy and strong, so I'm healthier in my body.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's literally changed my life for the better, and I am so grateful for it.
And so true. And I think that sometimes there's things like, well, you don't know what you don't know until till you learn the next piece or whatever. But what I'm noticing with Ugo is he's always been a real busybody, like, and I don't mean busybody, like, I mean, he's well behaved, but like always chewing on my jacket or always just, I always talk about him like he's kind of like a puppy dog. He's just like, oh, I need you, 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 I need you. And what I've noticed in the shift in this last year is that as I have learned how to be, this is really interesting. As I have learned how to be, he and I can now be quiet together. And he never could do that before. I mean, Xena could do it, but he was always just in my space, always had to be touching me, always had to do whatever. And I'm not saying he doesn't do that now, and he'll still do it. But we can also find these moments of just peace and quiet. And that's how I know that like I've shifted inside, because he and I couldn't find that space together before. And now we can. It's incredible. It's really cool.
Horses are magical.
So I want to talk about the energy piece in addition to, so being a body worker, and then you decided to delve into more of the energetic side of things. What drew you into that, or what made you decide to take an animal communication course, or what made you decide to do an energy healing course, or just like, was it just kind of, was there specific events that made it happen, or?
Yeah, we're going to go back to this full circle moment situation. COVID happened, and I thought my dad passed away in 2014, Halloween 2014. COVID happened in 2020. I thought I had processed a lot of my grief. Turns out I had extreme PTSD. When COVID happened, I was still living with my mom. So I moved in with my mom after I graduated college, and we lived together after my dad passed away. And my mom's my best friend. So it was such a lovely opportunity for me to be able to save so I can be in my home now. But also, like, we supported each other. Physically, energetically, and emotionally, like, let's be honest. Point being, COVID happened, and the rhetoric, especially in the beginning, we didn't know how it was being transmitted and how easily. And she had some of the, like, if you have X, Y, and Z, you're more likely to get really sick, potentially die, etc.
And that was a scary time.
Yes. And when my dad was sick, because of all of the cancer treatments that he had taken, he had done full, like, gamma knife radiation, full brain radiation. He actually physically had a tumor that was causing a midbrain shift. Yeah. He had that surgery, and he was on immunotherapies and stuff like that. So it was the same concept. Like, if I got sick and I brought it home to him, he could die.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had that parallel with COVID, right? Where I heard, if people are getting sick and dying, is what I heard. And I told myself, I cannot be responsible for killing my mother. And that was the story I told in my head, right? So
And you're not alone. I think there's a lot of people that were so afraid of
yeah,
that happening.
yeah. And it was a direct comparison.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
To what your
Yeah.
your dad. Yeah.
yeah. And so it was one of those things like that I really had to work on finding, like, I had to deep dive into my mental health. I wasn't able to massage horses at that time because we are under the umbrella of like medical or massage therapy for humans. So we are under ADMP, which is the, yeah.
Whatever it stands for.
Yeah. We're Department of Health. I get my license. I get my license through something where it said, if you massage horses, you are breaking the rules, and therefore, like,
Because of
COVID.
Okay.
Because it was hard for them to distinguish, like, yes, you're outside, you're with horses, you're in a barn. They just had blanket rules for everybody. And so it was one of those situations that I was not allowed to massage horses for a hot second. And so I was like, okay, the world's now going out. I can't do the things. And at that point, we didn't know if sole proprietors were going to get any support. So I wasn't getting paid. And it was a scary time, right? And so my mental health was like rapidly on decline.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for Alexa Linton and her program, because that's what pulled me in with all of her different programs.
That's so funny. So you bring up Alexa Linton, because last month I had my chat with Nika, and she also worked with her, and so did Elsie. So again, the circles that are all
circling,
interconnected.
It really is bananas. So Alexa Linton started all of this for me, and she actually was the one that helped me start with meditation. She did, like, I remember this tree meditation that she did and this water meditation that she did, like hydration and hydrating yourselves. That was like literally changed my life.
How did you find it?
Whole Horse podcast.
You found it through the podcast.
I think I found her through the podcast, and then I went to the Whole Horse apprenticeship. And so I had joined the apprenticeship, and I'm still part of her programs. Like, to this day, almost 6 years later, I still, like, everything that Alexa puts out is incredible.
Wow.
And I highly, like, I still work with her. So she did distance work on Arabella and on me for my CC.
As an energy worker?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So her knowledge that she has is incredible. And so she started my foray into, like, meditation back when I did not think I could meditate. And she was also the person that taught me about applied kinesiology, which is how I do everything now. So my, like, animal communication journey is because of, like, applied kinesiology, which is,
explain what that is to
people. So there's different methods of doing it. You can self-test, you can do it for another person. They can be a surrogate for an animal. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can do it. But essentially, energetically, there is a vibrational energy of yes and a vibrational energy of no. And my favorite self-test is this or this. So my yes is where it stays solid, or, like, stays stolid when I connect.
Like, when you ask, is that a yes, or if it says no?
Like, I can literally try to keep my fingers shut, and I can say, my name is Jordan. And I can hurt myself. Like, I literally just tweaked my wrist right there because I was trying to keep my fingers shut. And my fingers just literally cannot hold it together.
And that's called applied kinesiology. Okay.
She has a whole course on it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There is science behind it. And we can go into the in-depth part of that. But essentially, like, applied kinesiology, I remember the first time that I was trying this out, I went into Max Nutrition and was going to get vitamins for myself for something.
Okay.
And I was convinced that there was something that I needed. It was one of those moments where it was like, this is your yes, this is your no. And I had it in my hand, and I went to go, and I expected it to be a yes. And my no was so hard, I almost flunked the bottle across.
Wow.
For my body, I was like, I asked, is this in my highest and best good? My body was like, no. And then I muscle tested and found the thing. And it was like, the one that I had grabbed was a compilation of, like, 6 herbs and different things, vitamins. And my body was like, this one is one that's really, really, really bad for you. And what you need is these 3 in combination.
Wow.
And so it was like, very specific that my body was like, yes, you need that one. Yes, that's in your highest and best good. This combination, bad. No, you're going to not get better because of that.
How is applied kinesiology different than muscle testing?
It is.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
It's the same thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Muscle testing is exactly like, yes, there's two different terms for this, for the same.
Oh, okay.
Applied kinesiology is just like the fancier thing.
Okay. So you do it for everything.
Literally for everything.
When we had dinner that first time, he was telling me all this stuff. I was like, whoa, okay. And then I think I learned a little bit about it when I was in Felicity's class too.
Yes.
But that the difference is she remembers to use it and I forget.
Do you know what's incredible? I use it for my horse's supplements every single day. So at minimum twice a day, I have a bookshelf full of supplements, and I literally muscle test every single one of them every single day, because I do it by like shelf, where I go, Frankie's, anything on this shelf in your highest and best good? Yes, no. Carletta, is anything on this shelf in your highest and best good? And I can have 20 supplements on that shelf. And if there's a yes, then I can go like this section or this section and then like narrow it down. But I can go over 100 different things in less than 3 minutes and have their buckets together in less than 10 minutes for the both of them. And it's a skill that I use every single day for that. But I also use it, is this tea in my highest and best good, or is this tea? And it's little things like that, like my outfit for my shirt today. I was like, oh, should I wear this shirt or this shirt? And the universe was like, no, you need to wear blue because that's your throat chakra. And that's what today's about. What today's about. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. And it was like, what jewelry? And this is a gift from Cody. It's it actually says Arabella Aurora May on it, and it's her birthstone, and she wanted to be close to my heart. And so I'm wearing that today. So it's little things like, because she had to leave her baby up. Well, I was happy to do so because Arabella is incredible, and she's a magical little human being in just a package of sheer joy. And she very much wanted me to come here and have this conversation with you, because she has so many messages for the world as well.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel like when you communicate, well, as an animal communicator, like, do you feel like you can apply that to your child?
Yeah. Not perfectly.
Yeah.
Just like other people have talked about the fact that sometimes when you're in the thick of it and you're super emotionally charged, doing muscle testing or applied kinesiology is not like the best choice. And sometimes you can have that mental block with your own family members. But I remember when I remember somebody told me initially, like, don't try doing this with your own animals and expect like the same results. You might have a blockage. And honestly, practicing with my own animals was the best thing for me, because I already had a connection and a rapport with them. The key was not to have these discussions during supercharged times, but doing it over something like, yeah, if she gets peppermint today and she doesn't get peppermint, like, it's not the end of the world if she didn't actually want peppermint leaf today and she wanted raspberry leaf instead. Like, there's not a huge, like, OMG, life is ending moment with that. It was fun. It was playful. So I do it in fun ways and playful ways. And I do it for things like blanketing my horses, or if they want to wear a halter or not wear a halter, or if they want to do a certain activity or a different activity. And so I built up my trust and rapport with applied kinesiology and muscle testing in ways that didn't have high stakes, that weren't like
to help you believe the messages you were getting were real.
Yes. And the answer is not every single time you get like a yes or a no. It is a direct yes or no, because on the other side of that, you have to ask the right questions. So sometimes I might get a no, and then you ask the question in a different way and you get a yes. And so it's helped teach me a lot of skills about being curious, being an investigator, being open to hearing a no, because a no is not the end of the line. You can't do anything. A no is, maybe not right now. Maybe I'd like to do this other thing first and then want to do that.
Right.
And so it's not just black, white, yes, no, but it's a methodology of being able to discern in this moment. And so I definitely feel like in this daily use of muscle testing, I've gotten deeper in touch with my intuition. And it's my intuition with my daughter that I very much use.
Okay.
And
'Cause it's all about reading energy. It's all about reading energy.
yeah. But my mom gets annoyed sometimes because like I'll shout from the other room, her timer's running out because they're doing something, and I'll be like, taking a shower or whatever. And I'll literally like run out of the shower and be like, she needs to do something else right now before she loses her mind. But I was like, how do you freaking know that? You're in like the shower over across the house. And I'm just like, I just know.
And how much you put your intention to be in tune with what's happening too.
For sure.
I think with animal communication and my own blocks, like you're saying, like I've had people tell me that too, that doing your own horses can be harder because you feel like you know them so well. So then you're not sure if you're just projecting something on them or if you're actually getting a message from them. That's been a little bit tricky on my own little journey.
It sucks when people say that and then you second guess yourself always.
Yeah, that's so true. And I do feel like, though, that you had a really good point, though, that the questions that you're asking are super important to like how you form a question or the intention behind your question, or are super important to how you're going to get an answer or not.
Yes, 100%. And that works with all animal communication.
Yeah.
And that's a basis for, great news. I have set myself up for success with creativity and working with a child because same concept applies, right? If you have to get X, Y, and Z done and they don't want to do it, how can you navigate where they still feel empowered enough to get to the final result that you both want? Well, the final result that you at least want, but they still feel embodied, empowered, etc.
That's the same with our horses.
Yeah. So I think like in this way, like that I'm building these skills and I'm not perfect at it. And I still get those times where you're like, well, that in retrospect was real obvious. And of course that's the answer that I got, because if I had just asked it this direction or taken, like, it's taught me more neutrality and not expectation, but also like if I assume something, usually they're like, yeah, no, that's not the way that's going to work. Try again. So it's been a really good teacher of finding neutrality and legitimately listening to them, which has been cool.
Do you do animal communication sessions aside from the body work?
Yeah. So I actually didn't want to necessarily overlap the two of them. Sometimes I get inputs, and if I'm going in a situation where people are encouraging of that, I get more.
Like when you're in a body work session, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I usually
you're trying not to mesh the two.
Usually, I have two separate. So I do animal communication sessions, and then I've started doing what was really important to me when Frankie was in the hospital for over 2 weeks. Their rules were that you could only go for half an hour a day, which was ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
And seeing my horse for half an hour a day was, especially when as a body worker I was going in and I was trying to laser her and I was trying to do acupressure points and I was trying to taper and I was trying to do X, Y, and Z. And they allowed me a little bit more time because I was not just like, oh, scritchy.
Yeah. I
was doing things. And so they were kind about that. And when it was at the end of the day or something like that, they would allow a little bit more grace in that situation. But it was really hard for me to feel that disconnected. And so that's why I started the animal amulets that I do now, where it's like the horse charm or the charm
amulets. You should have brought one.
I should have.
She should have brought one, but so explain what those are about. And
yeah, so you can either get pre-made ones, but what I like to do is tune into your horse's energy and have them pick out the purpose and the stones. And so I literally design it. Some of these I look at and I'm like, I wouldn't put it together like that, but they're very much the horse's like energy, if that makes any sense. And so there's a halter charm, like an amulet halter charm, and then you have a matching either necklace or earring set or whatever. And what I like about the necklaces in particular is that then you can turn them into a pendulum.
Okay. I was actually wondering about that when I was just thinking about asking you about
Yes. So you can use pendulum. So pendulum testing is another great way to use animal communication and your intuition on an everyday basis. Those are like easy yes, no's. So I'm able to kind of create something that your horse gets actively participating in, and you can set an intention behind it. Or sometimes they set an intention behind it. Sometimes there's like an infusion of a particular word of like inspiration, or like I remember one horse, and some of the stones that he chose were like these, like it was a dark purple with a whole sparkly, like it looked like a galaxy, and he said, "I am a galaxy of infinite possibilities." And that was why he picked those. And because he's a baby and he like is an X-rays horse, so he's shucking off his old programming, and now he has this infinite possibilities of where he's going to go from here. And so it's something for him that was really important.
So you designed those, you said, so that you could feel closer to Frankie when you couldn't be there, or that was what?
So that's the intent now. So that's the inspiration for what I have now with the animal amulets. I just started offering them relatively recently. But I have a bracelet that a friend had made for me, and it was with stones that she had done something similar for Frankie with. And so I held on to that for dear life when Frankie was sick, and I use it as a pendulum as well. And so it was one of those things like, how can I honor that process and honor if you're going on vacation? It doesn't even have to be something as dramatic as like your horse is in the ER situation.
Yeah.
It can be you have them at a boarding barn instead of at your house, and you're going on vacation, or I don't know. It's just a really nice way to like, I feel like I can bring them on adventures with me.
Something physical that you can like touch to help.
Absolutely. Amplify.
Yeah, amplify. That's a good word. Amplify the connection. Yeah, I love that. I can totally see. I mean, I'll do that sometimes just with things that hold meaning.
I mean, we have these things that mean so much to us, right? Even for animals that are no longer physically here with us, there's these pieces that are imbued with their energy and feeling. And so being able to physically hold, and
it's almost like an anchor or something that anchors you to them a little bit.
100%.
So tell me, okay, so we kind of talked about the energy and all that. Tell me, like, when you decided you wanted to did you decide you wanted to become an animal communicator, or was that just, again, organic because you wanted it for your own horses?
I think the answer to that is one of those full circle moments where I used to do it intuitively all the time as a little kid.
That's what I was going to ask you. So you do feel like you did it as a kid?
Yes. So I even, like, my mom ended up being pregnant after I was born.
Okay.
And I was like 2-ish, I think. And I named the baby Tika. And my mom ended up having a miscarriage. But I used to evidently talk to Tika all of the time.
Really?
And we had a really strong connection until, once again, people tell you that this is ridiculous or not real. I also had a very traumatic event in my childhood that I think my brain locked off a lot of that peace and that intuition because I felt a lot.
Like you felt too much. You're overwhelmed.
Yeah. And so my brain said, oh, we're going to protect you. So we're going to like shut this shenanigans down. My best friend, her name was Kelsey. She was there when Jake was delivered on my 11th birthday. She rode with me double, etc. She was a huge part of my growing up in my childhood. And she and her sister were tragically murdered when I was 12. And it was heartbreaking. It was
a very traumatic event for a kid.
Yes. Was heartbroken. And I also didn't process it effectively at the time. And so one of the things about Felicity Davies' class that was so incredible is one of those energetic healings afterwards where there was like, we went and did the graves. Well, Kelsey showed up in this, which full circle again, my middle name is Kelsey, spelled Kelci. So she also very much looks over me. And I appreciate her presence, and her sister Haley. We were thick as thieves. There was a group of 4 of us. So it was Kelsey and I and Haley and Chloe. And we would do everything together and we'd play horses. Anyways, so point being, like, I think I used a lot of my intuition growing up, and then I very much shut it down when this event happened. And then again, there was another layer of that when my dad passed away. I shut it down. So when I didn't think I could do animal communication because my visuals, like, I used to be in college, I had gotten some of my like visual capabilities back. Like, I was an incredible test taker because I could see the thing that the professor wrote up on the board when I saw the question, and I could literally, like, word for word copy it.
Wow.
And then my dad passed away, and I could not do any of that. Like, my recollection, my visualization skills, gone, because my brain was trying to protect me, because I watched him, like, I was there with him as his body turned into a version of himself that I didn't recognize, right? And it was hard, and it was a grieving process for him at the time too. And so it was just one of those situations that, like, it was not an easy transition. And my body was trying to protect me because I watched all of that, and I had such big feelings about that, and I had to be strong in the moment. And my head was on his chest when I listened to his last heartbeat. So it's like one of those moments that, like, my body was like, that's a lot for you to process. So going through this reawakening process when COVID hit and having to deal with my mental health again, like, oh, I can't do animal communication because I can't see any of these things. Like, I used to be able to visualize, but I can't see anymore. So I loved going to the different people that are taking classes with Alexa, with Felicity, with Shaylee. Like, everybody has their own approach.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Tracy Rainwaters, like, everybody has their own approach and how they go about things and how you tune into your different clairs and your different ways of getting information. And it was so validating to know that, like, I could still get those little intuitive hits, those whispers. Like, I was always like, oh, your horse says this, or oh, your horse says that, when I was growing up and stuff like that. And Miko would be like, oh, ha ha. And now in retrospect, I'm like, oh no, I was like, that was that knowledge, where that knowledge just plops in and you're like, oh, I totally know that, you know? And so that's still how I get a lot of my information.
Like, does it come to you as a knowing, or are you getting words, or are you getting visuals now?
All of the above.
Okay.
So it's been so cool, like, working on all of these processes.
Just like people, like, going through the classes, different layers kind of started to open back up for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And healing those different layers has been incredibly profound. So now it's mostly still that deep knowing, but I will get the most incredible visualizations, and like I'll get songs that pop up, or like, in my head I'll just be like, do. And for instance, Stargazing is one of my favorite songs now by Miles Smith, I think it is.
Okay.
But I literally had never heard the song before in my life, and I was humming it, like,
Okay.
when I was out with my horses.
Yeah.
Watching stars, literally, like, shooting stars. And I had not heard the song. Maybe subconsciously I'd heard it, like, once, type of situation. But I usually listen to country radio, and it, like, didn't come up on there. And I, like, looked it up. I was sitting there. I tried to Shazam my own singing type of situation. I was like, what is this? What is this? And I finally looked up, and because then I started getting lyrics. So I, like, found the tune, and then I started getting lyrics, and I was like, what are these lyrics for? What am I getting right now? And it was my horses sending me this song, and it's literally lyrics for Stargazing. And I typed the lyrics into Google, and I was like, what the heck is this? And I play the song, and I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, I am stargazing. I'm sitting out here with my horses, cuddling, itching them, staring at these shooting stars.
Wow.
Like, this is the most magical moment. So it's little things like that where it still hits me with wonder and
awe. Yes. Like you say, it is a magical moment. I think that's just it too, is like we don't, like, you have to go, sometimes it's easy to not realize that is a message.
Yeah.
But it is a message. And then once you realize it is a message, it has this extra magical feeling to it, because you're like, whoa, wow.
Well, and that one was an extra magical one, because at that point, Cody and I had taken a little bit of a break in our relationship. And I danced around and sang that song and did like some healing around that. And I essentially was like, I think I'm to the point where if I never hear from him again, I will be okay. And I walked into my house, or I went to start walking into my house, and my cat did something, and I looked down and I looked up and I saw this huge meteor go across the whole sky where it was like a full 30-second, like ginormous. I sat there and I was like, that was a sign of your sign. Something big just happened. I have no freaking clue what it was, but that's bananas. And I went inside and my phone was on Do Not Disturb, so I didn't even look at it, and I just went to bed. And I woke up the next morning and I looked at my phone, and at exactly that time, so within 5 minutes of me seeing that, was when Cody had texted me, reached back out, and was like, hey, I was thinking about you and I just wanted you to know all of these things. And he sent me like this huge text that essentially reconnected us, that turned into us now starting family together. So it's crazy how like those moments and those decisions you make can change everything. That's also how my house came about. Like, it was one of those things where it was meant to be, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the sign of your sign's just like, boom, boom, boom.
And I think the releasing the attachment to the outcome is the little magic piece. Yeah, it's the little key, is releasing the attachment to the outcome. Like, I'll be okay either way. Whatever happens, happens. And then what's meant to happen can happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. But like when we're trying to make something happen, it doesn't really work that way.
No, it's bananas. I literally looked for a farm for 6 years. And the night that I came home and something had happened, and I looked at my mom and I was like, I don't care if I'm moving to Eastern Washington or across the country, I'm finding my own place and I'm moving out. Like I'm moving my horses home type of situation. That was literally word for word. And then that was at night. Within 4 hours, I saw my neighbor posted, come be my neighbor. There's an open house tomorrow. I went, checked out the place on a Saturday. I didn't have any of my financing together. Got our shenanigans together on Sunday for financing because they were accepting rolling applications. Made our offer Monday morning. By 5 o'clock on Monday afternoon, it was accepted.
That's pretty fast.
Incredibly. And we closed, well, like 2.5 weeks later.
Wow.
I bought a house in 2.5 weeks because I came home and was like, enough's enough. I'm like moving my horses home.
Yeah.
And it was because I made that decision.
True.
And I had a list of like, these are the things that I would like, and these are the things that I would really like, and these are the things that are like, it'd be really nice. And one of the things was, I was like, it would be so nice to have a view of the mountains. Well, I do not have a budget to have a horse farm with a view of the mountains. But in one of the rooms that is now my office, they had painted a mountain scene on the...
Oh, wow.
So the universe had its own little hat tip and was like, we got you your mountain.
I heard you.
And it was literally like, my horses manifested the pastures that they wanted. My cat manifested an entire sunroom. Like, wow, we had a sunroom at my mom's house. It's on the 2nd floor. So it was literally like a room that's 15 by, 10. And now it's the whole length of my entire house. There's a whole sun. And so she's like, I manifested that. So my animals have a way of doing this too. My point being, it's not only releasing that expectation of outcomes, but also calling in help from your guides, from your animals. Your animals are just as much part of this as you are. Mm-hmm. And if you're ready to take that leap, they're ready to leap with you, and they're ready to get it in the way that they would like to do it too. So it doesn't always have to be hard. It doesn't have to be a near-death experience. It can be easy if you ask and allow it to be that way.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good word of wisdom there.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be hard. It's just sometimes that's how you learn and hit you over the head to get your attention. Yeah, it's true. Is there any other animal communication stories that you feel called to share? Just, experiences that you've had?
I think the message that wants to come right now is fear festers. That was one of the most profound messages that I've ever gotten from my mare, Frankie. And it was after her colic. I was kind of like I had released everything, right? And then we rewritten that soul contract. And then I started like being paranoid afterwards. And I was like hyper fixated. Like, how many times did you poop today? Like, can I provide you with this? Can I provide you with that? And she literally called me on my shit again and was like, hey, this is going to be a problem. And I'm going to have more issues if you continue to project this fear at me instead of healing at me. And so literally I had lasered her and her belly. And so she had gotten stitches out earlier than she probably, like any other horse's timeline type of situation. But she ended up with this one little spot, and it was right in front of her belly button, which is her favorite spot for me to itch for the entire time I've had her. And it literally turned into like an external, like an Audi belly button kind of situation.
Yeah.
And it was pussy and gross and disgusting. And I was like, why can't this heal? Like, oh my goodness, it's going to get infected in X, Y, and Z. And her message was very specifically, fear festers. And I had pointed so much energy at that not a problem.
And so it was
festering. So I literally, don't get me wrong, it took like 2 or 3 days where I just was like, okay, I'm just not going to work. Like, I'm breathing. I'm taking the steps that I could comfortably take back because I was there almost all day type of situation. And then I was like, okay, you can take care of yourself. Okay, I don't need to like hyperfixate on this. Okay, I can like trust that you'll be okay. Okay, like I had to do it in little stages because I couldn't just like completely release it. But within 3 days, I didn't treat it any differently, and it had continued to get worse for like 2 weeks. Within 3 days, it had completely resolved, fallen off, healed.
wow.
And it was a message that hit me in the solar plexus and has stuck with me forever, because just like I've had a little bit of a hesitation saying, yes, I do animal communication. And yes, this is a service that I offer, because even though I've been doing it, you know, for my lifetime effect, but really for 5-6 years now, like super intently, and taken a number of courses, some of which were not great, right? P.S. that is something that I really want to emphasize. If somebody tells you something that you don't like energetically align with, it's okay to be like, that's not in alignment with me. Like, I did a shamanic journeying class with somebody that wasn't Dr. Tracy Rainwater's initially. And I came through with like, my power animal was this jaguar. And she was like, oh, you're a vegetarian. You can't be a vegetarian and have a power animal as a jaguar because they eat meat. How messed up is that?
That's too much in your head.
Right?
That's definitely a head answer.
Right? And I was like, excuse me, my power animal is my power animal type of situation. And so the people that I've mentioned on this podcast tonight, like, are people that hold the same alignment and that, and that belief that like, A, you can do it. B, it's in the highest and best good for everyone. The answers that you're getting are true on a particular level. It might not be true in this moment, in this space, in this time, but there is truth to that answer that you're holding. And you have to do a little bit of discovery to figure out what it is. And sometimes it's like, oh, that was the answer for this picture that I got, which happened to be 2 years ago. And that was a feeling that they had at this time, but that's transmuted now type of situation. And so it's one of those moments where it's like, you just got to get curious.
Get curious.
And
there's going to be lots of layers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you got to like take the fear and just say, I acknowledge you. You have been here to protect me. And I appreciate the fact that you have protected me. But
then let it go. Yeah. What about, you said Arabella had some messages.
She wants a whole thing dedicated to her life story.
What?
So, yes, we will not go completely into that. But what she wanted to remind me is that I mentioned Tika earlier, and the fact that I used to speak to her all the time when I was younger.
Yeah.
And her soul had lessons for my mom and I in that moment, but that we were connected as soul sisters. And she has now shown up in this other very star-aligned way and is in this life as my daughter.
What?
Yeah. Crazy.
She has tears in her
Yes.
eyes. Oh, wow.
Just to like an external validation of this, I had a little get together for like kind of a the baby shower.
Yeah.
Random dog at the end of that showed up that I had never met before in my life. Random little black dog.
Yeah.
And I took a picture and posted on our community forum, like, hey, is this anybody's dog? We have coyotes in our area. I don't want the dog to like get hurt. We just must have heard a lot of people and commotion, got excited and came over. That dog's name was Tika.
Really? You can't make this shit up. That's
You
what
can't
Felicity
make it up.
always says.
You
Can't make this
it
shit up.
It's bananas.
That's crazy.
And so,
wow.
The answer is Arabella still has so many teachings for me and so many teachings for the world. And right now the message is like a message of surrender and allowing and a reminder that it's all connected. And things that are meant to be will be, even if it looks a little bit different. Sometimes it just needs a perspective shift. So one of my favorite quotes is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. It's a Wayne Dyer quote.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a good way to look at communication with your animals, communication with other human beings, communication with yourself. It's true. That perspective shift, and sometimes stepping out of your own story, your own like thing that you have going on in your head, and just taking a step back and maybe changing your perspective on that, it can do incredibly huge things for your life. And so that's her story right now that she is teaching me. It's a story of self-empowerment and perspective, and just a reminder to like look at the world with joy and wonder. Right now, everything to her is like incredible and magical and wonderful and hilarious, and she wants to touch it and she wants to experience it fully. And she's unabashed. When she cries without abandon. She says, use your voice. People are supposed to hear you. Use your voice. So those are the types of messages that she holds. They're very much like, be your true self. Be your authentic version of you.
Not a watered down version.
Exactly. Like, don't let societal expectations, just like I didn't let societal expectations of what was considered a good job, stop me from trying to get into this job or this career that has sustained me and made me incredibly happy. Don't do that to yourself too. Don't have this societal mask that you put on that says like, that's weird. Maybe don't show that part of yourself to the world, because you find fellow people that have that same vibrational frequency that pick up on that and they're like, hell yeah, I want to do what you're doing.
Right.
I aspire to do that. And you can encourage people, you can inspire people, you can be a light in your own way, and that's what I'm seeing in her. She is just this like being of magic and wonder and light and delight. And she shows me how to look at everything with such a deep love. And it's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. She's a gift.
She is. In so many ways to look at that, but she is definitely a gift.
I love that. So I want to do two more things before we close out. One, I want to ask you if you had one piece of advice to give to people to something they could do to create a more magical connection with their horse. What would your advice be?
Have fun with it would be, I guess my advice is two-parted. One, change the way you look at things. The things you look at might change. Something annoying they do. It might be their way of being like, knock, knock, knock. This is my attempt at clarity.
Yeah.
Or something that like you think is something that you do, and then maybe take a look at it from a different perspective, maybe see their interpretation of it type of situation. Like just sitting and being like, one of my most favorite things to do forever is to just sit in my pasture, now with my kid, but with a book, my cat, my horses, just being and taking that moment to like listen to them eating grass and just being present. Those messages come through like that. That's when that's when I get the free flow. Like a lot of my messages come through in poetry, like at night when I'm just hanging out with my horses. So I guess my suggestion for like making a more magical connection with your animal is to let it be and let it be beautiful. Be beautiful. Like, what if the best thing possible works out? You know, instead of looking through worst. So that's one of those perspective shifts, right? Like I used to always look at what is the worst possible outcome. And now I sit there and I'm like, what is the best possible outcome? And you can sit there and be like, it would not be great if this occurred. And you can have a alternative backup plan. But opening myself to the possibility of like, what is the best possible thing that could happen? And the number of times that has occurred, or like a better version of that I couldn't have even imagined has occurred because I opened myself up to that possibility, has been something that's just been incredible. So I guess that would be my 2 cents, is like, just believe.
What's so crazy about you saying that, this is so funny, this is going to tie into the next thing, is because I just read like an Instagram reel the other day by the guy who made those cards that I just gave you. And it's exactly what it said was, if you're going to overthink things, then overthink them in all the ways things could go right or better.
What? How would you not?
And if you're going to overthink it, overthink all the good things that could happen.
And I'm still like trying to embrace that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. But it's changed my life because Virgo through and through, I overanalyze shenanigans. And I used to like overanalyze and pick apart all of the ways things could go wrong. And I'm like, and now I'm sitting there and I'm like, look at all the opportunities for things to go incredibly well or better than I expect. And it's changed my life.
Yeah. And I've tried to do that too. And it's hard sometimes, but it's such a good reminder.
Yeah.
But yeah, so do you want to do a new card pull for the group? I mean, just for the audience? So I had to, this is a belated Christmas gift. And this is by, the guy's name is, his name is Julian. Anyway, his Instagram is called Awaken the Inner. And I know that Brittany loves these decks. So I had to get her this for Christmas. And anyway, so funny though, because I just saw that on his thing. And then the message was like the same message that you're sharing. Anyway, she's going to pull from this new
Larry's muscle testing of this. So is there a message that wants to come through in here? And it's a yes. And so then I'll just show you, like, this is a yes and this is a no. So there's not a message in this side, but there is a message in this side. So this is just a fun way to, like, if you're not 100% like paying attention to the thing, you just trust the process. Is there a message over here? So this one, that one, no. So those are the messages that wanted to come through. As a side note, this is a wonderful way to tap into your intuition, and fun ways to do that is to tap in and get card pulls, because I pulled cards before I came over. Then we pulled cards before we started. The messages were so similar. It was from completely different decks. It was bananas. So that's a fun way for the world to influence you. So we have multiple cards here.
It's just a tool to
we have multiple cards here. Are these all for podcast guests? And is there a certain order that we should read them in? No. Is there a certain message for me?
Or the audience? Yeah.
They're all for the audience.
Okay.
They want the audience to pick their deck.
Oh.
So 1, 2, 3. If this one is calling to you, that's what we're going to do.
So they can pick a card?
Yeah. And that's why. This one is the Cosmic Child. This one
It picks the second one. It's the Flame. Oh, so you've got the Cosmic Child, the Flame.
And then the higher.
They're all in the same stance. Look at that. And the people on the audio won't be able to see them, but they're all okay. So the Cosmic Child is a child. They're sitting in the position, or this guy is. And then the Flame is a cat. And then the higher self is actually a lion. So Brittany's going to read the
Cosmic Child. The eternal innocence, wonder that sees the world as new, which is Arabella's like, Yeah. The cosmic child comes to awaken your sense of awe and curiosity. It reminds you that wisdom is not only about knowing, but also about unknowing, about meeting life with openness and play. This card invites you to soften the weight of expectations and to return to the joy of discovery and to the wonder that makes even ordinary moments feel alive. The cosmic child teaches that you are both ancient and ever new, and that embracing your innocence is a way of remembering your divinity. Its presence is a call to see life not as a problem to solve, but as a mystery to explore. How on freaking point.
That is a beautiful message.
And the whisper is, you are timeless, both ancient and forever new.
That's a beautiful message. And then the next one was the flame. He's got a flame coming out the top of his head. Everyone's got wizard hats on.
Yes. Okay, the flame. The spark of spirit that ignites passion and purpose. The flame is the inner fire that fuels creation, courage, and desire. This card invites you to reconnect with what lights you up, the passions that make you feel alive, and the purpose that drives you forward. The flame reminds you that your energy is sacred, and when directed with intention, it can illuminate paths not yet seen. When the flame appears, it asks you to nurture inspiration, to take bold steps, and to honor the power that burns within. The whisper is, your fire was meant to be tended, not tamed. We were talking about inner light.
Yes.
And literally, how did we find? Yeah, that beautiful bananas.
And you know what I'll do is I will take pictures of these cards and I'll put them in the Patreon, because the people that are seeing the video, they can pick the card.
Yeah. The higher self, the guiding presence that sees beyond the small self. Message. The higher self is the voice of wisdom within you, the part that is always connected to truth, clarity, and divine perspective. This card invites you to rise above a fear and limitation, to view your life from a higher vantage point where everything is woven with purpose. It reminds you that guidance is already available through intuition, synchronicities, and the quiet knowing that arises when you listen inwardly. When the higher self appears, it asks you to trust your inner compass and to act in alignment with your deepest integrity. Whisper is, the wisest choice you will ever hear is already inside you. How apropos were all three of those for our conversation?
These were so, and I feel like they can apply, all of them can apply to everybody. They are all beautiful.
Yes. I should clarify, you don't have to just pick one of them. This was like the message that wanted to be shared in the podcast. But I thought that like
beautiful.
There might be one of them in particular that you were drawn to that like extra hit home, if you know what I mean. So I think these encapsulate our vibes for today just beautifully. It was perfect. It was so. Thanks for listening, everybody.
For joining us. It was such a fun. And how do people find you if they want to either get an amulet from you, or they want to do an animal communication session?
Oh, yeah.
Or I suppose if they're local, I don't know if you're still taking clients for massage or not. How do they find you?
So my personal page is Brittany Lowe. And then my business page is Rein or Shine Horse Massage, spelled Rein, because we like to be punny around here.
Rein or Shine Horse Massage.
Yes.
Or Brittany Lowe. And I will put all that stuff in the show notes as well.
Yeah. And I have a website, and it's www.reinorShineHorseMassage.com.
Well, that's so cool.
Thank you so much for inviting me to your beautiful home.
It's dark outside now, so I don't know if the light handle.
You know what? Okay,
right? We've been talking so long, it's dark outside. Went from the light blinding me to now it's dark outside. But
hey, I've had a hell of a time. It's been
this has been a really fun conversation. She wanted to do it in person, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to work, but let's try it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was actually really special.
I love it. So we're going to set those aside. Now we've made a whole.
So fun. Thanks, though. Thank you guys for joining us. And loved having you. And I love that my friend Brittany lives close to me. Seeing people in person versus seeing, well, not that I see you on digital or anything, but it is definitely a gift when you live close enough that you can actually stop by the barn, so I could give you t-shirts for your baby and things like that. Anyway, thanks, guys.
Thank you. After recording the podcast with Jordan, and in addition to so much gratitude to her for providing this incredible opportunity and experience, I realized that we didn't start recording until after Jordan and I had talked for a while as we were trying to get mics set up and whatnot. And a chunk of time, we talked about all of our experiences with Shaylee and Amber, part of we're both part of Shaylee and Amber's Tea House, and their podcast is amazing as well. But we're both members of the Tea House and gone through multiple experiences with them specifically, both online and in person. And we were just reflecting on how absolutely incredible it's been to be a part of a group that celebrates each of its members being successful and having these huge transformational shifts. I was speaking in the podcast about so many of the things that I have gone through, and especially since 2020, going into more of this deeper reflection and healing. It's been the story of my animal communication journey and stepping into that piece of it as well. But the reality is, with the losses that I've experienced in my life, starting with Kelsey, it was absolutely heartbreaking in the moment. And I literally turned off parts of me in order to be a human in the world that wasn't constantly upset, angry, sad, depressed, horrified, so many different things. Like, I really had to choose in that moment to live for Kelsey and what she would have wanted me to do, instead of living in a way that held on to her loss so much that I wasn't able to experience joy in my own life. Not that that was easy, and at the moment that required literally forgetting huge chunks of my childhood in order to survive. But she taught me, wow, oh my goodness, life is short and can change in an instant. So you might as well live life to its fullest. I know that's cliche, but it's incredibly true. It's incredibly true. When these beautiful, bright lights and incredible human souls are truncated so soon, it's one of those situations that you have to try to find the silver lining in order to process it. And the reality is, I was able to find some of those silver linings, but I also did not heal, nor have I entirely healed from it. It has definitely created some patterns of abandonment and such that I'm still working, processing, healing, all of the things. But the reality is, between Kelsey's passing and my dad's passing, I have had to live so much life, and I've been able to experience large contrast in emotions and feelings. I needed to dampen those temporarily in order to get through that time, but then it's really helped me see the beauty in the contrast and the fact that I love more fully because I've experienced such grief, that I realize you have to live. You have to live with an open, expanded heart and look for the joy and the hope and the promise of something out there. Otherwise, the place that you dive into is not one that is healthy for continuing your own existence in. So, point being, I've had to go on a deep, deep healing journey through all of these losses, and that really started in 2020 as I started having to deal with more of these issues when PTSD arose. And it's been facilitated in large part by Shaylee Evans and Amber Leidick, and being a member of the Tea House and doing their in-person and online events. It's been a soul level transformational experience, and I am not where I am now without the processes that I've been through with them. So I had to send this extra voice note to Jordan because it was just really imperative to me to make sure that we gave them the shout out that they deserved, because they are not just mentors, they're not just friends, but they are incredible human beings that have literally changed my life. And I wanted to thank them wholeheartedly for that. I appreciate you all so much. And thanks for the transformational shifts. And I also really want to give a huge shout out to Shaylee Evans with her Centered Human membership, because she gives these hands-on opportunities, question and answer opportunities to really dive into the animal communication space. So it's also an incredible program.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this conversation that Brittany and I had, talking about all the magical ways our horses have led us to learning new ways of being with them, and all the amazing things that horses do to direct us really to the path that we were meant to be on. If you have other ideas of things that you would like to hear on this podcast, I'd love to get your input. Go visit us at www.patreon.com/mymagicalhorse, and you can send me a note there, or you can find me on Instagram or Facebook as Golden Horse Dressage. And thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here. We're hoping that you're enjoying this journey to finding more magical ways to connect with our horses. If you're enjoying this podcast, we would love to have you give us a rating, share it with your friends, share it on your Facebook page, share it on your Instagram, share it on whatever it might be. If there's a particular episode that you love, the more that we can get the word out, the more impact that we'll be able to make. So hopefully you are enjoying this podcast as much as I'm enjoying creating it. And until next time, namaste, friends.